Sinister Cup number 2 presented by RUSHgg. Grand Finals. Best of 5. We're in Game 5. TTV up 2-0. Apes Unleashed win the next 2. Trying to complete the reverse sweep against the best team in the world, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely clutching moments. Apes Unleashed there. Zante, the Pikachu, taking out Zapdos when the whole of TTV were piling on it in that 4th game there. Is keeping Apes Unleashed the dream alive, and they've leveled up the series here to a Game 5 scenario where, as we've seen already, anything can happen. Both teams have shown so much good play here, and a real improvement, really, as Apes Unleashed have found their footing after a first 2 defeats here. They've really got back into the game and shown a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, a great team fight in Game 3 around Zapdos allowed them to have that window to take it. And then in Game 4, just playing to the coin flip, playing to the out, and using their Unite moves bang on when they needed to, taking some big KOs in that transitional space, and then winning a big Game 4. So here we go. Game 5, Sixies in the top lane, taking these A-Palms now, saying, hey, it worked in Game 4. Maybe I'll do it again for Game 5. And, Chelvin will come pick me up just in case things get a little rocky.
Yeah, always nice to mix things up so you don't become too predictable. So switching it up, taking out those A-Palms ASAP, and uncontested for the Corfish. Lutano straight away is in top left, so it looks like an easy few points here for Sixty straight away, who reacts very nicely and continues on his charge, gets rid of an Apom, and is even going to get through to here on a Corfish, as it looks like Toon is away, so why not go for it, as Sixties' Toon is actually still a Froakie here, because those points have been taken away, and an easy goal as well for Sixties, so some really nice pickup there. Chelvin possibly scouting out for him, because when you're just a little Froakie, you're not nearly as helpful as when you're Frogadier. So real nice for Sixies, who can now commit to a Corfish alongside Chelvin. And they have to feel like they're at a bit of an advantage as these bees are about to come up.
Yeah, taking Power Up Punch now, mixing it up from even their Game 4 success, and cutting off Toon from getting to Frogadier, very important. Bees go down very quickly, but now Chelvin and Sixies are putting the pressure on. And look at that Power Punch just scouting for somebody to hit. Meteor Mash also on deck here, so Sixies can make a big push onto one of these players if necessary. Now, Sixies picking up that berry and sprinting into the opposing jungle, and they're going to try and steal stuff from Toon. They do. They take the Ludicolo, and that's big. Now, Toon has to put the pressure on Sixies, and they need this KO to really convert, and luckily they get it so that it doesn't slip away any further down the line than it already did. Lutano in the opposing jungle, a little bit of that pressure, feeling good. Now, Chelvin putting pressure on Lutano, saying, not in my world, and here we go. The Eldegoss is there for a little support. Zervis coming in to put some pressure and send Lutano reeling, saying, this is our jungle, not yours. Get out of here.
And Sixies is going to mop up some Apom just while he's at it. Goof coming up top as well by the looks of things. It really has been an interesting mix-up in this series, as Sixies is also going to continue onwards here, as the rest of the team might start mobilizing pretty soon towards these objectives, while we start seeing the Lucaris fight it out against each other. Cinderace has already evolved up as well, as the mob is coming down bot lane, and Sixies might be coming down to join them. Hasn't always got involved in the early Dreadnought fights, but sometimes does take that opportunity too, and is going to engage Toon here and Lutano. Looks like Chelvin is also here to engage these two and mop up some Vespi here.
Yeah, everybody's getting into the bees. We're going to see when the priority switches from the bees to the Pokemon here. And Toon got W, getting a little caught up, but not worse for wearing that goal zone as Toon bubbles back out. Lutano joins the mix, and they get caught by Chelvin and Sixies. Now, Lutano tries to get in and make Sixies pay for getting those points in and for getting Frosty on Toon, but they're able to get out of there with no worse for wear, with the berry on deck, going for the Bone Rush, and lining up the power-up punch, and able to close on Lutano as they try to get points in with the attack weight, and they do get their points in. Lutano working in, maybe putting on Score Shield this time, saying attack weight and Score Shield, but Sixies delivers on the KO. Now Sixies rolling down. We see a lot of action downstairs here, as a lot of players are congregating, and nobody's down for TTV, and Sixies a little late to the mix. Zugrug making a push. Dreadnought, 1/3 HP gone. Power-up punch on Zugrug, going to try and push them out, as Zante comes in and helps on that KO on the Snorlax, and now Toon, Goof, and Indy getting pushed, and they're on the right side of the screen as Talibobo seals up the Dreadnought, saying, nom 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 nom, I'm going to eat that turtle up all day long.
Looks like a final Unite move coming in for Sixies just before getting knocked out. But yeah, very clean play there by Apes Unleashed. Really winning that team fight a little bit there. We saw Zogrod getting knocked out by Sixies. Very important Pokemon 2 KO there. And it did open up that door so that they didn't have the fear that it would get yoinked by a big body slam. So easy steal there from Tally Bobo. You love to see it. And now we see Sixies rolling back up top, dealing with some Vespi, not giving it over for free, and also trying to defend this Rotom and threaten it at the same time. So pretty nice positional play here, as we are seeing Chelvin coming up to engage as well if need be. But it looks like now we're going to see a bit of a switch up as Sixies is coming down bot.
Yeah, Sixies going down bot, and then Talibobo, Chelvin, and Zante, Zervis up top there, going to put the pressure on and try and protect that goal zone, maybe make a play on Rotom. Here's Goof and Indy really feeling the pressure on Sixies as Lutano tries to come down and put him a little bit of pincer maneuver, and that's a Unite move by Zante to put the pressure back onto the opposing TTV squad here and sending them reeling, opening the window for Sixies to peel back and not get KO'd. But we look at the clock here, 4 minutes, 52 seconds, and Sixies and Zante really want to get to these next couple levels here, get their Unite moves back up, because we've got another objective on the field to contend against very shortly called Dreadnought in 27 seconds.
Looking like Apes Unleashed have a slight level advantage. You can see Indie Bear slightly under where it wants to be, Goof pretty much just in line. And I think right now they're just going to try and keep TTV away from free mobs here, making sure that the experience just isn't lying around and they can't take it for free, as Sixies is going straight back into that jungle to continue with that objective. Lutano scoring on that top lane uncontested right now. Zogrug getting in the mix, trying to damage Sixies, as we are coming into that zone where it's time for Dreadnought to get back into the mix. We'll see if another team fight will break out here.
Zugrug really using those heavy slams to try and isolate Sixies off their squad, and that's a big Unite move that does find its mark, but we know that is a chonky Pokemon, and here's Goof to help pick up the scraps here on Zug so they don't go down, but what does that do? That opens the floodgates on that bottom goal zone. Indie Bear scoring on their back half, however, Sixies not too concerned about that, just going to go ahead and back and then try and put the pressure back on Lutano, who is also level 11, who hasn't really been in the mix with their team whatsoever so far. So here we go. Tally Bobo pulling up on Lutano, and Toon on the right side of your screen. Tally Bobo not worse for wear. They're going to try and close the door. Chelvin, in fact, does. Zervis in here as well, getting a little cotton guard going on the Sixies as we're watching Zante trying to cut off Indie Bear from scoring any more points. And that's a fight that Pikachu can win if they can keep up. Indie Bear making a great scramble, getting some distance here. Sixies misses with the Bone Rush, isolating Goof GG. Goof GG comes in with a Hyper Voice. Indy backed to base. So Goof may be thinking they had a little bit of support there, but Indy went back, and Indy went back to base and is now back in the mix. Lutano getting pressured as they're getting followed around by Chelvin and Tally Bobo. But that is, Zervis getting a KO on Lutano themselves.
Yeah, really interesting stuff going on. Tally Bobo up top lane right now, trying to deal with Rotom by the looks of things, has taken that objective alongside Chelvin, so they can send Rotom down that lane. Indie Bear trying to get involved here as well. Pretty much out of position at this point, but might be able to get the getaway on Sixies here. Although he's taking a little bit of damage for the effort and might get caught in the middle a little bit here, which could be pretty awkward. Actually does get caught. Zervis and Chelvin coming down south to help out here. And it's in perfect timing as well, because the likes of Dreadnought and Zapdos are coming up pretty soon, but they're gearing up to defend by the looks of things. Apes Unleashed are feeling a little bit ahead right now. There's also easy points on the table thanks to that Rotom, and that does cause a huge dunk here for Sixies. Huge United move as well, which then allows Sixies to get out of there. So getting out of the mix, even though putting in that huge amount of damage and so many members from TTV trying to defend here. Zapdos is up there in the lead. And now it's the defensive game, which we'll see if they are able to pull it out here as they take a huge KO straight away with a Unite move there from Tally Bobo. They have to deal with Toon here as well in the center.
Yeah, Zugrug Heavy Slam coming in, and the fight is on. That's 3 Unite moves that just kicked off at the same time. Both Eldegoss's and I believe the Pikachu Zante as well. And now there's 2 players down for TTV. They're thinking this is our time. Sixie's going to try and bubble out. That's a power-up punch going in, and that's a miss, however. And they go down, and now Zervis and Zante getting their KOs here. But everybody else is still up for Apes Unleashed. As Indie Bear sent scrambling, they get picked up by Chelvin. And Chelvin putting the pressure on. Tally Bobo is able to confuse Goof into the wall, and they get caught. And now both Lutano and Indy Bear are down for 6 more seconds. They went down almost simultaneously. 1 second left, and Sixies is back in the mix. And we're going to have another skirmish, maybe down in the bottom lane, as RUSHgg is going in, chasing Chelvin, and just trying to get their points in. Was that almost like a feint almost to try and open the gap here, as the chase is on. Toon, Goof, and Indy are all retreating. They're trying to set up some sort of counter offense here, as Sixies, Talibobo, and Zante find their way back to the middle. Sixies peels back down, is able to try and isolate Toon, but they just miss on closing the gap on them. And now Zervis is able to take a KO on Lutano again, sending them back to the respawn point. And we're watching Zapdos. There's only 27 seconds left on the clock, and here we go. Sixies takes out Indy Bear. Goof sent reeling. Sixies going to pick up some points, and they might go to the tower here, depending on who takes it. They takes it anyways. Wow. They take it anyways. Zante able to close the door on Zapdos, and this has to be a win for Apes Unleashed. This has to be a win for Apes Unleashed, as Sixies got their points in immediately. Reeling on defense, that's another 100. You can see him in the top left corner of your screen, just laying into it. Talibobo getting their 100 in, and that is time's up on the clock. The reverse sweep has been completed. That is almost a 400-point victory, Joe. Domination by Apes Unleashed in the back half of that game, and they made TTV look human.
Absolutely, and I think this was the cleanest game by far from Apes Unleashed. Really, really well played. There were some interesting moments in the middle of the game where everyone was sort of just scrambling, doing their own thing a little bit, and TTV didn't really mobilize at any key moment. You didn't really see their strategy coming into play in those last few minutes as well. They're normally so united together in one goal. They make things very obvious for you what they're trying to do. They made a push down bot lane this time around, didn't win that team fight, and then just didn't have enough time to take the Zapdos. So they kind of ended up in that scramble situation where they're trying to eke it out, but it then meant that their damage wasn't going into the members of Apes Unleashed. So they were then able to win that team fight in the final stages of the game, and it meant that they could take a token Zapdos, but they were already ahead at that point in the game regardless. But it just meant that there was no other questions to be asked. Apes Unleashed cruising to the line there. Really epic final game.
Apes Unleashed, we've said it, but we, just really keeping the pressure on, putting the onus on TTV to do something. You said it before, TTV is okay playing off the back foot, but we haven't seen them reeling too often, and they were certainly sent reeling in the last 3 minutes of this game, as everything just really tightened up from the Rotom going to the second tier goal zone. Quick 45 points there, immediate flip back onto Zapdos, everybody able to get into position just in time and really take a quality team fight there that opened the door for them to just kind of seal it, put the last nail in the coffin on that Zapdos. Now, Apes Unleashed, as I said in the beginning of Game 1, able to turn Sinister Cup number 2 into Planet of the Apes. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, fantastic to see them. Again, bringing some unconventional picks as well. Talibobo, really impressive with that Mr. Mime. Zante, the Pikachu, hats off to them, especially for that Game 4. But without that moment, they wouldn't have even made it to this Game 5 situation. Chelvin has been really impressive in that jungle. All the team members really gave a great account of themselves there, and they're coming up against the best. It's pretty much known at this point, but they were able to tangle with them, and it'll be interesting to see them coming back for more tournaments at this stage. Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what's in store for Apes Unleashed, and certainly TTV is not going to be gone or forgotten by taking 1 L in a grand finals. They're going to shake off that reverse sweep, and I feel really bad for whichever team they face next in whatever tournament, because they're going to be hungry to get back on top. That being said, Sinister Cup number 2 presented by RUSHgg in the bag. Reverse sweep complete. Apes Unleashed, your champion. And on behalf of Unite Mikes, Kirk, doobsnax, Dubé, Joe, OmniJoe Bernard, we'll catch you next time.